Hi, and welcome to the guidance for the first map assignment. And what we're going to do in this short video is just go over the basics of a station model, in particular the wind piece of the station model. So this is what you will need when you get a map that looks something like this, how to interpret those sticks and on each of those stations. So your map assignment 1 is similar to this. This happens to be the states of Nebraska and Kansas. These are weather observations on a particular day. And in your map assignment, it's a map of Oklahoma on a particular day. But the fundamentals are the same. Each one of those circles represents a station and has some numbers around it, which we're not going to worry at all about. And then each one of those stations has kind of a stick sticking off of it, with some feathers or barbs at the end of that, and that stick with the little feathers and barbs at the end of it, that represents the winds at each one of those station points. So that little kind of cryptic schematic can tell you about the wind speed and direction at each of the stations that's plotted on this map. And your first map assignment will be to basically interpret some station plots like these for the state of Oklahoma. So what that map shows is that when we talk about surface winds at a station, we're talking about two things. The first is, these are the two components of wind. Wind has a speed and wind has a direction, and both of those are important in meteorology. And so we'll start with the wind direction as how we do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot up just one of these examples at a station. So here's a station in central Kansas, and I could tell you that's a southerly wind at 20 knots by looking at that map, and we'll show how we construct something like that. So again, wind is defined by its speed and its direction, and when we talk about the wind direction, we are talking about the direction that the wind is blowing from. A southerly wind blows from the south. A northerly wind blows from the north. A northeasterly wind blows from the northeast to the southwest. If you're a northern person, you're from the north. If you're a southern person, you're from the south. Winds are defined the same way. A southerly wind or a south wind is coming from the south. A westerly wind or a west wind is coming from the west to the east. So that's how wind direction is defined. And the way we show that on the map is, you saw those sticks. So here's a model, blank model of our station. The black dot right there is the location of the stations for which we're determining the winds. And I've just marked the four cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, as up, down, right, and left on the map, just like a typical map. So what we're going to do here for this station is I'm going to, in blue, draw a wind observation. And so for this particular station, I have a stick going off to the northwest. So that's going to indicate where the wind is coming from. Again, the stick blows into the wind. So at this station, this stick indicates that the wind is coming from the northwest. From the northwest. So the stick actually blows into the wind. It sticks into the wind. And I'll explain why we came up with that convention in a minute. But so for this station, that particular wind is blowing from the northwest. And I'm going to draw some lines on here. And these are a little exaggerated so that you can see, but that's kind of important. So this wind from the northwest, I've added some feathers, or we call these barbs, at the end of this stick, and those indicate the speed of the wind. And for the purposes of this class, it's going to be in knots or miles per hour. Either one, they're not exactly the same thing, but we'll go with miles per hour. So each one of those long sticks represents 10 miles per hour, and then the short barb represents 5 miles an hour. So this wind, again, at this point on the map, is going to be from the northwest to the southeast, blowing at 10, 20, 25 miles per hour. That's how the wind model works. Again, the stick points into the wind, and each barb indicates a part of the wind speed. Together, all of the barbs indicate the wind speed. Now, the reason we have it this silly way where the stick flies into the wind is it used to be, a long time ago, that the wind was actually plotted as an arrow blowing all the way through the station. As we got more stations and as we got smaller and smaller printing, and as the cost of ink actually went up, they decided to eliminate, let's see here, they started to eliminate this little piece here. So that used to be a solid line blowing through the station. And then a few decades ago, actually several decades ago, they decided they really didn't need this part. It just added extra information, so they left the back part of this arrow with the feathers on it. So again, this blue model indicates a northwesterly wind from the northwest at 10, 20, 25 miles per hour. And that's how it works. And so you'll see a lot of these on a map together, especially in your assignment. And you'll see when you look at the map in your assignment that for a general part of, and this happens to be the state of Oklahoma that's shown, that the winds are not all exactly equal. So the direction wiggles around a little bit, and the speed will wiggle around a little bit from station to station. So what I'm asking you to do on this assignment is just give a general description of the wind at a couple points on the map. Whether it's, if you have 3 or 4 15s and a couple of 20s on there, call it 15 or 20, that's fine. You're not going to get counted off for not getting it exactly right. Just characterize the winds in the general area of that dot. A couple other just minor details. If you have a wind or a station that has no stick and it just has a circle around it, that's a calm wind, a wind that's near zero. It's basically considered directionless and a near zero wind speed. And then if you are fortunate or unfortunate enough to have winds over 50, those will be depicted with a pennant. So I'm going to draw on this station. This would be actually wind from the north, almost due north, at 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5, or 75 miles per hour. So once you get above 50, you just start adding flags. You start adding pennants, and each one of those is 50. And then finally, for a wind that is less than 10 or 5 miles an hour, it is just noted by like this. So a little short stick with a little piece of the main shaft extended. That's 5 mile an hour wind from the north. Again, at that station. That station observing a 5 mile an hour wind from the north. That station observing a 75 mile an hour wind from the north. That station observing a calm or near zero wind. And this station observing a 25 mile an hour wind that's from the northwest or northwesterly wind. So if we go back to this original regional plot for this station in central Kansas, I said at that point, at that black dot, the winds are pretty much out of the south. I guess it's just a little east of south, but we'll call it a south wind at 10, 20 miles per hour. This station, wind out of the southwest, you could probably call that south or southwest or south-southwest, at 10 plus 5 or 15 miles an hour at that station right there. All right, so that's how that works. When you look on your map, you'll see stations a lot closer together, and you'll see that between the point A and point B, the wind field generally changes. There's a boundary between two wind regimes. So the winds will be out of one direction near point A. They'll be out of an entirely different direction near point B. The speeds will be generally consistent with each other, but you know, it's not important to get this exactly right. If it's 15 or 20, just put 15 or 20, and that's totally fine. Thanks a lot for your service. Thanks a lot for your patience. I know I have been a little slow spinning up this course, but I hope it's going well for you. And I hope you feel welcome to ping me for any questions or clarifications that you need. Have a super week. All right, bye-bye.